Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about some of just the nonsense that we see out there of people not understanding that what we have as the basics really works very, very well. And when I say the basics, I don't just mean some classic barbell lifts. It's examples of what you see my lifters doing all through this video. A wide variety of stuff using barbells, dumbbells, machines to some extent, sometimes bands, right? And realistically, that's about all that we really need. Some body weight movements. And these are a bunch of my very advanced lifters. Some of these are very serious competitive power lifters. Everyone in this video is pretty jacked. And these are actually some of my drug-free clients. Like every client who I'm putting up here is not on gear. So that's kind of a point that we need to remember here. But what I mean is everyone wants to come in and have you do massive amounts of volume with bizarre exercises that no one is ever used in the serious strength world or athletic world or anything else. And, they're always trying to say, hey, there's this new special angle. If these movements don't work for you, which is ludicrous, we're all human beings and tension is tension. They're always coming up with silly new stuff. Trying to find some bizarre angle to where you twist the shoulder this way, or let's do this one arm cable lat pull down because we think it's going to line the fibers up a certain way, or really bizarre core exercises, bizarre glute exercises. Examples would be some of these little silly donkey kickbacks and using hip circles. But again, this whole idea of telling people, well, you're not going to hit, the delt or the pec correctly unless you incorporate this specific special movement. And, the funny thing is the people who are promoting this, the trainers, the influencers, everything else, none of them are particularly strong. Almost none of them are ever particularly jacked. And that should tell you something. And I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to start fights and call people out, but some of them are quite popular. And when I see these people, I'm like, you're small and weak. Like, in what world do you think that what you're doing is working? How are you going to get people strong and jacked with this nonsense that you're promoting? And people say, well, maybe not everyone's trying to get that jacked. Well, okay, great. Don't put as much weight on the bar, right? So the way all these various serious lifters are training, and a lot of my lifters are very well developed here, without using any of these silly movements, big pecs, big shoulders, everything else, quads, glutes, right? They're very well developed off of traditional exercises that have been used in strength training for a long time. And I'm not saying we don't use variations more for our max effort work, because we do, because we want variation there. But if you look at most of the supplemental lifts these people are doing, a lot of these clients are stronger and more jacked than these influencers who are telling you, oh, you need this specific movement to work the glute medius, or you're not hitting the posterior head of your deltoid or even your lats correctly. Really, pull-ups will build massive lats. Man, add some rows to that, some row variations. Whoo, you're good to go. What are you talking about? Rear delts, why don't you just do rows and some dumbbell work? Even lateral raises work the rear delts. I like bent over stuff also. I like the rear delt flies as well, like you see Michelle doing there to some extent. But, realistically, we don't need bizarre. These people don't have bizarre special new movements. But look at how all these lifters are training. What are we seeing? Seeing bench pressing, incline benching, using dumbbells, right? Sometimes, we do dumbbell work, we do barbell work. Telling me that you can't build complete pecs, particularly if you do a little bit of incline stuff as well. Anyone out here legitimately believe that barbells and dumbbells cannot maximize complete pectoral development, particularly if you train a couple different angles? I mean, I would make the case that flat benching and some close variations of it, close grip, floor pressing, stuff like that, combined with flat dumbbell presses, can probably build most people's pecs massive. Complete development. But, you know, a little incline work thrown in there. Yeah, there we go. I like the incline barbell bench, by the way. I prescribe it to a lot of my lifters. Very good for getting you strong out of the bottom of the bench. All right, it's build massive pecs. You don't need this special twist. Same thing when it comes to things like quad development, glute development, abductor development. My lifters all have jacked ass legs. What do you see them doing? The basics. Most of my advanced guys don't back squat other than for max work and speed work. We actually do our hypertrophy work on machines, single leg exercises, dumbbells. What do I mean there? Well, perfect examples. You'll see a lot of these lifters doing belt squats if they have access, leg presses, single leg exercises. What do I mean by single leg exercises? Bulgarian split squats, lunges. I like goblet squats for a lot of my lifters as a secondary exercise. Again, after they've done their main work, I like goblet squats. You'll see some of my people doing goblet squats. You know what? They'll build very good lower body development. Not a lot of this silly fluff, though, that you see people doing. You know, it's ridiculous trying to use these booty bands. Well, what do we do for posterior chain? Good mornings. Right? Most of my advanced lifters do good mornings. They're very strong, and I might have people who can max on a 500 plus pounds on good mornings. So can I. Good mornings, real high on the list. Glute ham raises, reverse hypers if you have excess. I think the reverse hyper is king. Okay, you're good. You know, Romanian deadlifts and phases. That's it. Our posterior chain's done. Also, if we learn to squat wider, we'll use more posterior chain. Again, we reinforce that with the machine work. Look at Mike there doing the belt squat with that wide stance. Same thing I do. Reinforce it. We'll build everything we need for a wide squat there. But taking that wider stance, a little more posterior chain, a little more adductor. A lot of our GPP build squats, and you know, drag a sled. Do some plyometrics, some box work. Okay? You have big ass quads. Big ass glutes. So the same thing with back. What do we need for back? Pull-ups, row variations. Most of my advanced lifters don't do a lot of heavy deadlifting. We do mostly speed pulls. You know, some of them deadlift heavy once a week or once every second week just for singles on variations. We do mostly just speed pulls. So our back development is tending to come from the low back exercises like the good mornings, glute ham raises. Well, not so much glute ham raise. Reverse hyper. All the rest of the back, pull-ups, rows. Okay, put your back. What about shoulders? Shoulders are simple. Overhead work. I don't prescribe a lot of barbell overhead work for my advanced people unless they really care about it. We do some dumbbells. Do them seated. You can do them standing. A lot of raises. Of course, I like upright rows. I like to prescribe those. But do we need anything special? Do we need anything besides barbells or dumbbells? Not really. Some cable stuff is nice to change it up. Maybe some band work for the rear delts. But we don't need weird gimmicks. We don't have to have them. Arms. Your pull-ups should be building your arms. Chin-ups, I guess. But failing that, some hammer curls, reverse curls. I'm not a big fan of underhand grip curls. I think that they beat your tendons up over time. My opinion. A lot of experts agree with me. So a lot of surgeons agree with me. Matt Winning agrees with me. Some hammer curls if you need some extra arm work. Triceps are easy. Big basic tricep exercises. Close grip benching. JM presses. Extensions. You want to keep the tendons healthy. Band press downs. For high reps. And now you'll see at the end a bunch of my people doing leg work. You know, goblet squats, belt squats, leg presses. Okay, done with a full range of motion. I like the goblet squat. I think it's just as effective as single leg exercises, but I do like to prescribe those, again, split squats and things. I think split squats are great, particularly if you have a safety squat bar. Otherwise, I think dumbbells work even great for those. Also, hey, we train grip as well. Again, these are the basics. You can get thick and jacked off this. We get stronger from the max work and the speed work, but this stuff is where we put on our size. And it works. It works. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.